then they will produce a harmony. That will be the pleasant thing. But if they are produced one after another after little interval, then they produce the melody. When such thing happens, we feel a pleasure in music, and that we refer to as concord or consonance. But if it's unpleasant, sometimes people feel that if there will be large difference in frequency in particular, I mean frequency, I will explain, is the number of oscillation that string or that pillar will make per unit time, normally per second. So there should be a pair. Here we find that there are 8 pillars in all, and after heating at the center of each of them, we find that Sare Gama Padhanisa is produced. Later, after heating the second pillar, third pillar, etc., they should maintain the same ratio. That is what we propose, and for this we want to do some elements. That must be mentioned. Of course, it will be the contribution from several components which we want to take into account. And because of this varying tension also, I feel that there are some cavities inside also. So we have to take into account these things, whether the cavities are different in different regions of that pillar. If it is so, then mass per unit length at different lengths will be different. And so the frequency is inviting me here and giving me the chance to say a few words. Thank you very much.
It becomes difficult to suggest the proper means to control these microorganisms damaging architectural remains. Organisms they spread in the environment and they pollute the environment. The ability of the microbial strains to produce or their ability to produce powerful enzymes which accelerate the rate of reaction between substrate and the product. These are the factors that are to be accounted for. There are a number of factors which, next slide please. Next slide please. Now this is actually, I am going to just give or highlight the basic concepts of batch excrement and the probable association of different microorganisms with the fecal matter at our international workshop which I conducted in 1985. And she pointed out how the batch excrement plays very significant urine and fecal matter on the surfaces of rocks, on the walls of rocks of Ellora caves. Now the lower figures depict, lower photographs depict the association or encroachment of flora. I would say encroachment of the rock substrata or stone substrata with the batch excrement in fecal matter. I collected from a college site. And after washing subsequently with the water, lime water, the white patches.
Thanks. Aqueducts, channels, clay, axial manner always had a water body as their focus, evident from the centrally located gardens with mountains in the food complex, thus creating a comfortable microclimate. Hence the paradox. On one hand, water was scarce, and on the other, it was highlighted as a principal design factor. Okay.
Oi.
This
I
is
want
the
dupatta.
conserved state.
Not dupatta. Not that one only.
This is, I think we just saw it.
That.
This is where we were trying to find out the water systems. Actually, we found on all the terraces some 6 holes, and perhaps we'll have to begin to write story of the 6 holes, and where all the water is going, because there are clay pipes. You can't use the laser system, you can't use metal detector, and so there is a lot of investigations which will take place when the water system will be complete.
You mean the rainwater harvest?
No, the
Terraces.
fountains, running of the fountains as well. There is a, this is a heating system for the water. There is a tepid area, it's like a Greek bath in one of the Rajasthan hot area, but things were transported that we are trying to design for even lighting system. Some new doors that we have placed for some new facilities, because now it will not be a palace, it will be a place for people to go to. And while we were doing the conservation, we had a lot of students coming in, and we used to have seminars over there. That's it. Thank you.
Use of our knowledge related to history of art and architecture in India, of which there have been many studies. But for us to appreciate this properly, considering that the objective of this conference is not only to look at the art, but also look at science and engineering of the monuments, what we need is an interface between history of art and architecture with history of science and technology. Unfortunately, in India, for a variety of reasons, in the last many years, history of science and technology has not been properly studied. For example, even the most recent series being done by ICPR on science and civilization in India has one volume on history of science in India from 1100 to 1800 AD, and this volume has nothing at all on the most brilliant work done in India in that period, which is Kerala mathematics and astronomy. So that people are still sticking to things because they are using only secondary and tertiary sources, and they have not updated their knowledge. And so, from my point of view, one of the recommendations that this workshop should make or ought to make is that the education departments of various universities should be advised to introduce courses on history of science and technology, IITs, engineering colleges, and such like.
The same one which I would be possibly attending. It isn't. There's another example of so many people doing things which are, there is a, I don't know exactly what it is, I'll find out when I do, because I'm interested in the subject, so I'd like to discover, some consistency in the chaos. And it is that the Department of Science and Technology is, has been given the responsibility of managing a satellite channel for education. Maybe it's bigger than the Department of Science and Technology. The Department of Science and Technology has responsibility for the science part of it. It's called EduSat. It will be a dedicated satellite channel for education, including science, in India, which should be up within 2 years. The need for bringing in the
because almost all of the ancient monuments are occupied by these bats. So the people should be educated how dangerous they are for the monuments and also for the health of the people. And now I come to the next point. That's about Vitala Temple and its musical pillars. Yesterday you asked me the question and I was not, I thought I have answered you, but it was not so satisfactory to you. When we were working on the Vitala Temple in Hampi, we have done an extensive survey of that area, and we discovered a place where the rocks are lying, and the quality of those rocks is such that the crystals are arranged in such a manner that when you tap with your fingers, they move in such a way that a sensitive ear who has musical ears, a person with musical ears, can identify some musical notes. And these pillars which have been brought to this temple, they are monolithic. They are, some are 3 meters and some are 3.5 meters high according to their places. And the small colonnades which when they emit the musical sound, they are detached from the same block of the stone. And they are not hollow. None of them is hollow. There is no cavity in it. And when we were working, we collected a few pieces on the site and we got them analyzed in the laboratory. And there our scientists were able to explain to us how the crystals are arranged, and when you tap with fingers, they are able to produce the sound. So this is one of the things. And I don't know whether the mass, the weight they are carrying plays any role in producing the sounds. This we were not able to find out. Because being a historian, I was more concentrated on the history. And each pillar produces a different note, and you can play them. And on the 2 pillars, you can take even the rhythm of tabla. And I have a recording of it. Afterwards, if you have time, you can listen to it. And one can play a rhythm of tabla, and somebody can sing there or play an instrument. And my brother, she made a violinist to play the violin, and the tabla was playing there. And simultaneously, he played tabla on the pillar. And the sound of the pillar was more beautiful than the real tabla. So this is very interesting thing. And there are 56 pillars in that monument. And in participating with, in collaborating with you.
So this is your exploration.
Yes.
What we mean in our exploration,
Yes.
is the same thing we want to investigate by using the
Yes.
instruments.
Yeah.
Some computerized instruments, making models, comparing the signals of these instruments and
Yes.
the soul pillars. That we would like to compare.
Jesse on this side or on the other side? He is singing. My brother is singing.
What is the second note?
Sa re, sa re re ga. Sa re re ga.
He's singing.
Yes.
So that second note is singing it. It's not, it's not a musical pillar.
Now this is, he's singing with the pillar.
He's singing with it.
Sa re ga.
The basic sound is this.
Yes. Yes.
The flowing note, which was puzzling
Yeah.
me,
Yes.
the flowing note was also from the pillar. Flowing note is from the voice.
Yes. Just to give us the identification of the.
Right. And then this
Yes.
is him singing.
You can make it fast forward and you will have tabla. Or if you want to listen. This is another pillar he has taken. This, he says it's like a sitar, gives the sound of sitar.
Of these pillars in music. This morning in Dr. Kanitkar's presentation, he mentioned, when you go from sa to re, the proportional frequency should be 9/8. But it's not quite clear because when you read the Nati Shastra, we are told that there are so many shrutis between sa and re and ga and so on and so forth. So we don't quite know. We know it should be a rational number for it to be pleasing to the ear, but we don't know whether it's 9/8 or 10/9 or what else. So now if we can go and look at constructions, let's say 1,000 years ago, then we would know as to what they considered the standard key at that time. So this would be a very important take off.
This thing, deteriorating factors are also there. But being posted there at Taj Mahal, what this Agra group of monuments, what we have experienced in other monuments also. These bats, besides bats, the honeybees, and then these pigeons, and then your monkeys, they also equally damage this. And we experimented so many things about the honey bees, and they have all been ineffective. Sound system, and then this your spray, and all so many things, so many experiments we have done, and nothing has come foolproof so far as a repellent. Likewise, pigeons also, we put mesh and all such things. Are confused when there is dropouts and all such things. They just simply spoil. And that's why the cleaner main chamber, once the holes were there, so that ventilation is there, but it becomes very stuffy inside that main this Taj Mahal chamber, inner one. And likewise, this monkeys, they just ride and then they would shake it, and the total minarets, they're inlays here. Shaking minarets. The minarets and also things here, particularly that the inlay work is there. So the organs, they are not micro one, but they are bothering. I need some solution to be suggested. The other thing is that in most of the building, the second question, there are two questions only. The second question is that in most of these monuments, lime has been used as a mortar, medieval monuments, and lime is an organic material. So subsequently, so many microbiological elements are there. How to treat this lime mortar particularly, how to make it more effective and more long-lasting. These two questions.
The conservation in India needs a movement by itself now. Lots of monuments are decaying and they need to be conserved. And right now the monument that we just conserved is the Hai Chatragarh, the fort and the palaces of Nagaur. This project was under Getty MMT combination. I was working there as an architect project director. And this project was This project was done in last 9 years. We first documented the whole site, then we documented its damaged state, and then we decided as to what we should do to each part of the building. As a process of conservation, we documented the whole site and then we documented its damage status. Then we decided as to what to do, and we as a matter of policy, we did not cling to any particular charters, either Venice Charter or anything. We just wanted its physicality to remain, and then that physicality will give it a historic ambience. The royalty that was using the place will now be used by the people, and therefore a controlled use was necessary.
Significance of what use of monuments in future, like what should be the use? How are
No,
they going to be used?
okay. This monument will be used as
not
a.
only this in general. Now,
I think each monument, there are categories of monuments. Like some monuments have to be remaining as is for public use. Some old buildings can be in a controlled use. Some other buildings can be made in a historic ambience, but could keep using for public use, like schools, etc. And some offices could also be used, but they should be reverted into the historic building ambience.
now just one line or two line about the water system, the uniqueness of the water
Yes.
system.
While we were doing this conservation project, we came upon many fountains, many ponds, and on the terraces we found some 6 holes. So we thought that there is a complex system of underground water pipes. There is a gravity system of the water flow because of the sources of the water that we found. And there is also an inverted siphon. But half of it is still remaining to be found. But we are sure that once the whole water system is clear, which is very much integrated into the palace complex, the ambience will be created.
What is the significance of this water system? Like,
The,
what is so special about it?
no, because the architecture and water is so woven together. Architecture can't be completed just by conservation. Until we conserve the water system, it's a one total design. The water with the architecture is design, and it is along with the paintings
In Nagore.
in Nagore.
Architecture in Nagore.
In Nagore, yeah, this particular palace.
Just say that again.
Architecture in Nagore is water becomes an ordering link in the architecture of Nagore, and so is the paintings. So having conserved the palaces, now we would like to totally investigate the water system, rejuvenate it, and then open the palace to the people for visit. See, in Rajasthan, it's an arid region, water is scarce, and there is a paradox in this palace complex that the water nuances are very importantly placed, and it creates a microclimate. By just being there, it gives a cool air. Within the building, even within the building, the water is there, and perhaps they put fragrance to it. So they elevate their lifestyle in that sense.
Okay, fine.
Running all over the surface of the earth, just like a latitude and longitude, creating the energy grid patterns. So with respect to this, if you construct a building, then there will be, and the second important is the main door. The position of the main door is in any directions. It should be a fourth grid from the left of the residence. Next. This is the typical residence building. As I told earlier, we were taking the perimeter of the house. Wall, and inside those five primary elements are there. The central portion is called the Brahmasthanam, as I told earlier. There is no load or no beam or columns is crossing, and it should be entirely free from the space. And the kitchen is placed in the southeast corner, and the bedroom is placed in the southwest corner. That is in the ninth feet. And the puja is placed in the northeast corner. So detailing I can't explain because of due to insufficient time only. This is the first floor of the residence. With respect to this main mother wall, taking this grid inside and spreading the outside and extending the staircase and the toilet portions also, that you can see now, in the direction of true north. So, whatever we have got in the energy grid lines inside the periphery wall, the same energy we have spread it all over the sides, and wherever we got the irregular shape of the triangle shape, that we have converted as a garden or any car parking place, something. This is a elevation of the same house. Next. And this is one more residence. It covers totally 7,000 square feet, and
we have constructed as per according to the Vastu strictly, and the central portion is called as Brahmasthanam. Here the client is provided a high-raised ventilators in the top. On the top side you can see that we made some sloping roof and kept the high-raised ventilator below the sloping roof, and made some beautiful architectural treatment using the Dravidian architectural style. This is also a residence at Colombo. Next. This is the first floor of the same. Plan.
I'm interested to know the conceptual meaning of each and every god forms. Temple structure like Vimanam, Garbhagraham, Gopuram, etc. And when giving clarification, they had no words to a temple or related to each other. It not only created a balanced visual effect, but also bringing to joy inner spring. All the visitors of the temple were convinced of the highly spiritual atmosphere inside the temple, which is created by the proportional spatial forms. The Shiva Vishnu temple of Washington DC is a massive, and Lord Vishnu is said to be the embodiment of earth substance or manifestation gross form inherent in it. Hence, both are manifestation of one and the same energy, and so are brought under one temple structure, creating added spiritual energy to the whole structure. My father, Sri Ganapati Sthabadi, who is a great exponent of Sri Shiva Vishnu temple concept, many Americans taking interest in the principle of Vastu Shastra, and many are approaching our office for construction of residence and office according to Vastu. Today we are having around 100 temples in USA alone. I am happy.
Provided for the congregation of the devotees, and at the entrance a high tower welcomes all the devotees. Now we are looking at the front elevation of the temple complex. One high tower is raised for both the temples, symbolizing the unification of Shiva and Vishnu concept. This picture you see was taken at the initial stage of the tower work. The concrete shell was built by the American engineers as per the Sthapati's design. The following picture is the finished structure of the shield piece with brick and mortar. The high tower adorning the different forms of Shiva and Vishnu on both sides of the tower can be seen. The height of the tower is 56 feet. It is one of its kind built in the United States of America. It took 3 years to complete this temple complex with a team of 20 shapers. This layout shows the Balaji temple built in St. Louis, Illinois, wherein Balaji is the prime god. You can also see that Shiva and Mahalakshmi temples are placed separately within the total layout, and all are facing east. This kind of temple with prime deity as well as auxiliary deities, not like Parivaras, is under one roof. This temple has been built on 6,900 square feet area. This picture shows the complete front view of the temple with gopurams of the main sanctum. The next one is the aerial view of the whole temple building with a single high tower of 60 feet high. This project took 2 years to complete with 15 shapers. This is a concrete shell built for the Rama temple by the engineers of Illinois as per Sthapati's design. The following is the completed structure by the shield piece with a tower of 75 feet high. This is the highest tower built in the United States of America. This picture again shows the concrete shell built by the engineers of Illinois to build the Ganesha Shiva Durga temple in the style of Orison architecture. Below is the completed temple structure with gold electroplated stupi kalasams specially manufactured for this purpose. This picture is the front elevation of Sri Swami Vivekananda Memorial Mandir in Illinois, where the mandir was built to accommodates Sri Vivekananda Swamiji made in brass. And we are happy to inform that today is the consecration ceremony of this holy structure at Chicago. This picture shows the front elevation of the steel structure with 4 pillars below is the rear side elevation of the structure during the construction of Indian shippies. And let us tell you that this is the first time in the USA a memorial mandap is built for Swami Vivekananda ji. This layout you see is a Shiva temple, very unique of its kind. This temple is under construction fully in white granite stones. This temple project is sponsored by an American Saivite saint called His Holiness Gurudeva Shivaya Subramaniya Swami of Saiva Siddhanta Church, Hawaii. This temple form, top to bottom, is carved in granite stones near Bangalore, Karnataka. All the carved pieces are shipped to Hawaii, where our team of shippies are carrying out the assembling work. The 40 pillars with different ornamental motifs and a small tower are designed to give an effect of structural symphony, achieved by vast technology. A Dvajastambha is also provided. The Garbhagriha of this temple will house a crystal lingam of 3 feet high, which is presently kept in a Balalaya in Hawaii, Adina. The style of architecture adapted in this project belongs to the Chola dynasty of 10th century AD. And take the attention.
Urban form. The whole idea is that how water system in a desert situation where water is so important that the topography and everything is used to conserve every drop of water and make it available to the city for the rest of the year. I will cut out the more technical part of urban contours and topography, but how, in order to do this, how to save water and supply it to the city. Either cities have gone to the water, in the sense that we build cities next to the river, which is a standard pattern, that wherever there is a source of water, we build there, and at times we bring water to the city. The later part will be bringing water to the city. Next one, please. Some architectural fields are tanks. Water tanks are a common feature for most of the temples, particularly in South India, and also as pleasure sources and pleasure pavilions. Next one, please. This is, to me, an important feat of engineering. So it's very beautiful. I flew to a water tank, which you'll see is equally beautiful. Next one, please. Now, this is the water brought to the tank. You can see the quality of architecture of the tank and how the water has been brought to that aqueduct, which we saw in the previous slide, and leading to the tank. Another picture of the same thing. You can see the tank, you can see the aqueduct, and the spout leading water into the tank. Now, I'm not going to talk much about it. This is a topic in itself. The famous city of Mandu, which is all built around water. The whole architecture and water is all together. Another picture from Mandu. This is near Govardhan in near Mathura, and it's essentially a section system at a higher level, and a series of fountains were created and tanks created to supplement them. Of course, this is famous for the Kusipi's Salim Chisti's stone, and water is always, as an ablution pond, is an important feature. You go to water. You make step wells, and it's Gujarat and Rajasthan are famous for step wells, where you can go, sometimes like the step well at Adalat near Ahmedabad is 7 stories down. You go down 7 floors to reach water. It's beautiful architecture. Next one. This is in Nagaur, which you saw earlier in the film, the step well which was restored in Nagaur. Now this is the place around which the city of Jodhpur has been built. This is that particular hill on which the fort is sitting, and the rest of the city is built here. And the entire corner, which is essentially an important topographical feature of the hill, and water collection system is worked out brought to this point and also from further up here. Now, this is the city map, the old city. The new city has developed here. This is the fortified area. You can see the construction of the city in this part, but all the hill area is preserved, it's not used, and the topography is used to collect water. For instance, we have two tanks here, Ranisar and Padamsar, which were used for the fort, and several other lakes. Now these are tanks which will also be, I'll showing some of them, which were constructed as tanks to which water was brought from outside into the city. Next.